Mission to the Moon. Continue with your mission.
Hello, welcome to Mission to the Moon podcast with Rawit Hanutsaha. Today I have an article from Rich Horwath, the founder and CEO of the Strategic Thinking Institute. He wrote an article in the Harvard Business Review called "The Most Strategic Leaders Excel in These Four Disciplines." What are the things that people who are called strategic leaders who are good at these things do well? Today, we will talk about it. Mr. Horwath tells an interesting story from watching lions hunt in Kenya. He said that he saw a group of lions lurking and waiting for zebras. It was quiet for almost 2 hours, almost 90 minutes. But then a lion cub got up from hiding, causing the zebras to scatter. The lion roared at the mischievous cub before moving to another place. They know that the survival of the group depends on their strength, ability to adapt to the situation, and advantage in the form of hunting. He sees this experience as a good metaphor for what he thought would be strategic fitness, the ability of a leader to learn and adapt to the environment in order to set direction and create a competitive advantage. Just like the lion cubs earlier, they had to adapt when they missed the opportunity to hunt prey. Business leaders must adapt to the environment in order to cope with change and keep your business afloat. Horwath points out that professional athletes spend a lot of time training compared to the time they actually compete, a lot more time training. But for business professionals, the situation is the other way around. Most executives in business spend very little time practicing the fundamentals that are essential for their success. Think about it for a second, right? The answer is true. We spend a lot of time working, but very little time practicing the necessary skills. This is the opposite of professional athletes. So, in your opinion, Horwath said that leaders who do not practice developing their skills will have a lower level of what is called strategic fitness than it should be. It is like looking at a lion in a zoo and a lion in the wild. The zoo lion is like an executive who has not developed the skills necessary for business success, while a lion in the wild is like an executive who has developed the skills necessary for business growth. Because they have to hunt their own prey, no one brings them prey. Even though both lions may look healthy on the outside, they are very different on the inside. So he will talk about another topic, strategic fitness. Now, to answer the question of how leaders can develop and sustain a fitness business, Horwath conducted a study of 77 C-suite executives over a period of 4 years. Let me note that the executives were in the United States and came from various industries, such as technology, healthcare, finance, FMCG, consumer goods, and NGOs. And then each person has completed a strategic fitness survey of 80 questions. The average starting score is around 60 to 100 points. There is still room for improvement. He said that in the monthly conversations, he will meet with us every month. It is divided into 4 areas. People who score high will have 4 strategic fitness dimensions, making them high-scoring people. The first is strategy fitness. A subset of strategic fitness is the ability to adapt when necessary. This refers to a study by McKinsey that surveyed over 1,500 companies over a 10-year period. It found that strategic direction is the number one factor that improves an organization's potential. That is, will it survive? And then there is research from the past 30 years of 10 million managers. I think only 22% of employees agreed that their organization's leaders have set a clear business direction. Leaders with high strategy fitness are able to adjust strategies in the face of changing environments. They can do this by, first of all, communicating consistently, listening to perspectives and data to help determine a clearer direction. The word communicate means communicating and having the other party understand it as well. Speaking in one way, the patient in the meeting is dazed or something like that. This is not considered proper communication. The second is to continuously examine and collect insights about the market, customers, competitors, and your own company in order to continuously analyze the health of your competitors, your customers, and yourself. The third is to adjust the strategic plan when new information comes in. We may have the same plan, but when we have new information, how can we adjust the strategic plan to create value for customers? The fourth shows the ability to adjust the strategic plan when the business changes in practice. This means that it is not just an idea that some people are okay with, but when they talk about it, no one does it. This means that the plan that they said they would adjust actually changes. The last is to consistently seek knowledge about new strategies and information. He gave an example of a CEO. Let's say his name is Torch. He was the CEO of a technology company with an annual revenue of more than 100 million. He said that he had a problem. His sales team was bringing in new customers, tens of them per day. This is because they were motivated by the total number of customers instead of the revenue and profits that each one generated. So there were a lot of customers, but they were small customers. Small customers created a lot of burdens for the operations department. The sales team brought in customers, and the team began to be unable to manage them. Large customers can generate more profit. So, Torch assessed the new strategy and made the painful decision to cancel all contracts with small customers that were below the specified value by the end of the year. That is, not renewing the contracts with them even though they were customers, and focus on investing in new products and better services that are designed to create more value for large customers. When we say this, it doesn't sound like it makes sense. But if someone is sitting at the table and having to make decisions to cut customers or cut things themselves, I have to say it's very simple. It has to be someone who is trained and has the mental strength just because they believe that this is not the strategy that we should go for. The second one is called leadership fitness, the ability to adjust the leadership style or leadership to suit the situation. Will understand that their value to the business increases from continuously observing their own behavior and interactions to assess how they can improve and cope with changing situations. Work on the basis of the principle of being a leader who can stimulate the behaviors needed to support the organization's strategic direction. For example, do we work with a sense of ownership, or do we consistently evaluate the competition? Do they really stimulate it? And can also know their own behaviors, which can be called high self-awareness. For example, sometimes we are biased, which we are aware of, or sometimes we make decisions too hastily. We know that we have an impact on the team, etc. Leaders with leadership fitness. 1. They have clear leadership principles and clear leadership values. 2. They constantly ask for feedback and evaluate themselves from their teammates. 3. They are the team's focal point. Mr. Horwath does this. For example, a leader named Laurie is a revenue executive for a large political service company. Her team failed to meet its financial targets for 2 consecutive quarters. She realized that for the first time in her career, her just-get-it-done style of work was no longer enough to get the results she wanted. She had to change. Mr. Laurie worked with Mr. Horwath, the author, and they developed the 5 principles of leadership and adapted them to suit the team's resources. 1. Lead in your own way, not under direct supervision. 2. Whether we agree or disagree is not important, but when we make a decision, we will follow the plan that the team has chosen. 3. Build trust by doing what you say 100%. 4. How much do you clarify your rights to make decisions in management? 5. We pay full attention to the meeting, but when someone says something, we listen carefully. The third is organization fitness, which depends on the ability of the leader to develop the business model in order to position the organization appropriately according to the situation and be able to deliver value to customers. He cited a survey of global CEOs by Global House Cooper that found that CEOs want to increase the time to think about the future of the business from 47% to 50% of the total time. Investing time to think about the future of the business requires a lot of discipline. It's like waking up to exercise every morning. For leaders to truly realize their own future business requires a lot of discipline in their work because it's something far away and doesn't see immediate results. In one survey, it was said that 63% only have a work framework of 1 year and don't know what will happen next year. Half of the 63% don't even have a plan for a year, which is very interesting. So let's say that the industry is changing, but thinking far into the future will let us know what is important and what is not. What is gold and what is garbage? Otherwise, if there is no plan, the plan cannot be had, and we cannot change it. But having a plan makes us know what we need to focus on and what not to focus on. Leaders with high organizational fitness will have 1. A clear picture of the business model. 2. A clear understanding of the internal and external challenges that affect the business model. This means understanding your own business model and knowing what challenges will collide with this issue and what will happen. For example, if you say that the influx of foreign capital has affected your business, you can clearly answer how it will affect you. Find a way to do it differently from your competitors. The author gives an example of a person named Cheryl. She is the president and CEO of a healthcare company that succeeded the previous CEO who was very successful. Ms. Cheryl said that she is aware of the proverb that what got you here won't get you there. Although the previous leader brought strong financial results, she had to focus on short-term profits and lacked investment in good customer data management infrastructure. Cheryl works on the main components of the current business model. The as is status is what it is now. Then think of future options by comparing the current standards with new things that will happen in the future, and collaborate with various customers to design software as a service. Many items to be future infrastructure, even though these are high-cost investments, will provide more value in the long run. Short-term profits may be affected, but in the long run, this can make customers stay with Cheryl's company for a longer period of time. And when looking at the long run, the best way to prevent challenges to the business model is to develop software as a service together. Point 4 is communication fitness, the ability to work effectively with stakeholders both inside and outside the organization. This is very important when it comes to communication. The author cites a survey he conducted with Human Capital Media Research and managed over 400 people and found that 18% of cross-functional groups within the organization could not effectively align their strategies. The reason for this is because of a lack of good communication. When responsibilities increase and the pressure to achieve goals and financial targets increases, many people tend to neglect working together. It's like a basketball player who wants to score by himself instead of passing the ball to his teammates, when at that moment his teammates have a better chance. Leaders with high communication fitness will build relationships with their teammates who can draw on their teammates' expertise, have more friends than enemies, and make full use of the organization's resources, especially those that are given to others. Leaders with high communication fitness do many things. 1. They meet with stakeholders regularly. When they meet, they will be intent on building relationships and adjusting strategies that are consistent. 2. They clearly understand what their teammates are trying to achieve and what their strategies are, and how can we help. 3. Use different channels to share insights across different departments. Mr. Horworth gave the example of Steve, who had just been promoted from VP of Product to Chief Marketing Officer. He recognized for years the challenge of bridging the gap between sales and marketing. Salespeople and their managers were tuning in to orders and customers that were not profitable. Marketing teams were promoting premium products, and contracting teams seemed to spend too much time executing on deals. There were problems all over the place. Steve quickly took action across all levels of the organization, from operational to executive, in order to ensure each department was managing their responsibilities efficiently. He recognized the importance of informal communication in effectively conveying information to each team. To excel in strategic leadership, there are 4 key elements: strategy fitness, leadership fitness, organization fitness, and communication fitness. These can be developed through various methods. 1. Allocate a specific time each week to review and contemplate business strategy. 2. Seek feedback from your team and colleagues on your leadership style. 3. Stay informed about the current trends and changes in your industry. 4. Foster connections and cultivate relationships with both internal and external stakeholders. Developing strategic fitness is not an overnight accomplishment, but rather an ongoing process that demands dedication and consistent practice. Similar to exercising and going to the gym, these practices may not yield immediate results, but through disciplined and continuous effort, one can strengthen each of the 4 aspects mentioned. By focusing on long-term success, both you as an individual and the organization's leaders can gain a competitive advantage. Ultimately, the author urges readers to reflect on the following question. How much time do you dedicate each day to improve your strategic fitness? Establish goals for yourself, just as you would when planning your fitness regimen at the gym. Embracing strategic thinking and becoming the most effective leader possible is a journey worth undertaking. If you choose to listen to this article, it might come across as somewhat overwhelming. However, we have a solution. This particular book, tailored for those who are conflicted within themselves, is a compilation of writings curated by the Mission to the Moon team. Our organization has expertly rewritten articles that resonate with us. For those actively seeking their true path, you have the ability to place an order for this book using the link provided below. I have made sure to include the link for your convenience. That concludes today's report. We deeply appreciate your time and commitment in following Mission to the Moon. Thank you.
Mission to the Moon. Continue with your mission.